In this video, I'd like to reflect upon my experience as a race and equity leader for Mile High Early Learning, which is a nonprofit Head Start organization that is located in the Denver metro area. In this video, I really want to focus on talking about my overall experience, some highlights, and some challenges that I have faced. So, my experience with race and equity actually really began about 2 years ago through my work with my organization. My organization decided to discuss race and equity issues during one of our professional development institutes, which is a week-long institute that takes place in the spring. Although I had prior exposure to topics that concern race and equity there at work, it wasn't until starting my doctoral program that things really started to click for me. With our first class that we took last summer, Power and Privilege, I was made aware of how race and equity issues still exist in society today, oftentimes in plain sight. This was not something I had previously had to think or worry about, which I now know is an extension of my own privilege. That class, combined with my work within my organization, motivated me to be different and do better. When given the opportunity to be a race and equity leader for my work, I decided to take the opportunity even though I knew that there would be some obstacles to overcome and that I still had a lot of growth I needed to experience in terms of race and equity. Within my role as a race and equity leader at my work, I am responsible for facilitating a quarterly community of learning for about 30 participants. This community of learning involves discussing a topic in regards to race and equity and pushing participants to stretch their understanding of race and equity issues. So far, I have only facilitated one community of learning, but I'm about to facilitate my second one next week. This experience has been mixed with triumphs and challenges. I have learned so much about myself and others in society as a whole, but I am still growing. I wanted to take the time to reflect upon my experience as a race and equity leader here in this video. I wanted to cover some highlights. So first, doing this work has forced me to step out of my comfort zone in more ways than one. I'm looking at people differently and different situations differently. I'm able to express when I'm seeing inequalities in situations, and I am more motivated than ever to create change. It may seem very little, but I'm also more able to talk about issues regarding race and equity openly. Professionally, one of the things that this work has done for me is to build relationships with colleagues that I didn't know very well previously. I got paired with a co-facilitator in my work that I honestly didn't know very well prior to stepping into this role, and it forced me to try and connect. I am someone that is naturally introverted, so I think that building this relationship has really been a highlight for me in this work. I also think it's important to address some of the challenges. This work is hard. It's hard and not everyone wants to talk about issues regarding race and equity. My first community of learning did not go very well, honestly. Participants were open to sharing, which was great, but instead of focusing on race and equity issues, a lot of past trauma that our participants had experienced was brought to the surface. I'll be the first to admit that I was not prepared for that. I tried so hard during that community of learning to change the direction of the content, but I was not successful. A lot of people ended up leaving upset and in tears, and I was really honestly at a loss of what to do next. I was able to work with my co-facilitator to game plan for next time, and I know that that was a really big learning experience for me. Another challenge that is existing is that I'm still in my own stages of reflecting and processing what issues of race and equity really are and how they impact those around me and myself. I'm no expert, but I really am trying to learn. Sometimes I feel like I don't say the right things, and sometimes I feel like I don't know what the right things are. It can be really unnerving. I also have noticed that people in general don't want to have these conversations and will ultimately end up dancing around them. This is something I'm still trying to figure out. When to push, how to push, and how far to push. Even with these challenges, I am thankful for how this experience has changed me. I still have a lot to learn, but I really am dedicated to making change. Thanks for listening.